From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, on the road this week from a farmer event here at Swanson Seeds in Oneida, Illinois. And here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes.
They're the backbone of our country. So we're going to use that money to provide $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers.
A major announcement out of Washington this week. The White House unveiling a new round of bridge assistance payments. But when will farmers actually see that money? We break down the timing and who qualifies. But the president did not stop there. During a roundtable with farmers, he floated fresh tariff threats on fertilizer and signaled he may be ready to roll back environmental regulations on farm equipment. What those hints could mean for producers in the months ahead. Making the case for E15.
There is a real sense of urgency in farm country. So now we need legislators to show up and get their jobs done.
Corn growers say expanding year-round access could be the demand boost they desperately need as domestic use stalls. And deal or no deal, cutting through the confusion on a trade agreement with China. Help is on the way to farmers impacted by the Trump administration's trade policies. The White House releasing details of its much talked about trade aid package. Now, the aid totals $12 billion, but up to $11 billion of it is meant for a newly designed farmer bridge assistance program. It's specifically for row crop farmers impacted by trade issues. The remaining $1 billion is for other crops hurt by the ongoing trade disputes.
I'm delighted to announce this afternoon that the United States will be taking a small portion of the hundreds of billions of dollars we receive in tariffs. We are making a lot of money from countries that took advantage of us for years.
We have been listening to the farmers for the last 10 months, 11 months, sir, that the bridge that is needed to get from the last administration and what basically happened under the last president and the last U.S. Department of Agriculture to this new golden age for farmers, where instead of farming for government checks, they can farm to feed their family and sell their products and pass it on to the next generation, that this bridge is absolutely necessary based on where we are right now.
To be eligible, farmers need to make sure by December 19th that their acreage report is accurate. Then by the end of the month, USDA is expected to release commodity-specific payments, and by February 28th, payments under the program will be released. We have more about what's covered along with the reaction from farm groups on our website, agweb.com. Also coming out of the White House announcement on trade aid, the president saying he may put severe tariffs on Canadian fertilizer.
What are we doing to bolster domestic fertilizer production to help make that more affordable? And then I think that will transition down the pipeline.
A lot of it does come in from Canada, and so we'll end up putting very severe tariffs on that if we have to, because that's the way you want to bolster here, and we can do it here.
And while we don't know the tariff rate the president is threatening right now, Josh Linville of StoneX tells us they would negatively impact two fertilizer products.
Number one, easily potash. The U.S. is highly reliant on imports to meet our demand. And when you look at those imports that come into the nation every year, Canada accounts for 88 to 90% of those flows. And you look beyond that, Russia is sitting at number two with 10% of our import flows. So that is going to be devastating to the potash market. And that's going to be a cost that's likely going to be borne by the U.S. farmer, because there's just not a lot of time and there's not a lot of excess production around the world to backfill that.
The other fertilizer product that Linville says would be impacted is anhydrous, as Canada accounts for over 50% of our imports. However, he says fortunately the U.S. produces most of its own needs. The president also saying his administration will move quickly to ease environmental requirements affecting tractors and other farm machinery. He argued at the White House the changes would lower sticker prices and simplify repairs. The president said EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin would be involved in carrying out the effort. He added the administration's goal is to remove what he called nonsense and require manufacturers to pass savings along to farmers. In a post on X following the announcement, John Deere commended the Trump administration's announcement of relief and bridge payments for farmers and said that it shares the administration's focus on reducing costs for both consumers and producers. I have more about this up right now on agweb.com. Well, USDA wants farmers to focus on soil health and producing more nutritious food. To that end, Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins, along with Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Oz, announced a $700 million pilot program aimed at supporting regenerative farming. Rollins saying the program would be funded through the existing programs at USDA. She said the program will allow farmers to pursue whole farm planning instead of a piecemeal approach through the agency's Natural Resource Conservation Service, and that they will be able to apply using a single application.
We are committed to restoring America's natural strength by empowering producers with simple outcome-based tools. Producers at every stage, from beginners just starting with cover crops to advanced operation with years of conservation experience, many of those are represented by our farmers today, will find a pathway through this pilot. Each producer's results will be measured and credited back to the farmer through an outcomes report, recognizing and rewarding improvements they achieve on their own land. This initiative puts American farmers first as part of the solution to make America healthy again.
Now, Kennedy says the report promises farmers an off-ramp to transition away from chemical fertilizers inputs, quote, to a model that emphasizes soil health, and with soil health comes nutrient density through voluntary action, end quote. All right, that's it for the news. Well, it has been a blockbuster year for corn demand on the export side, as you just heard. But take a look at corn prices today, and those prices really don't reflect record demand. But corn growers are pushing for a boost on the domestic demand front, even catching the attention of the president this week. That's our Farm Journal report next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer, the #1 corn and soybeans in the U.S. Proven genetics and performance you can trust. Plant with confidence. Plant Pioneer.